Hey guys, welcome back. This is Dasho Rose here. I'm back with another review on this time Spongebob. Yep, we're gonna be doing part 2 of season 2. Yep, part 2. Also, I don't know why I'm still getting notifications for that app. I thought I'd turn that off. I guess I am. If you guys don't know that app, that's actually for like DaVinci art and all that. Yeah, that's kind of what that is. Which kind of gets into my introduction. Before I get any further in the video, before they interrupted me and all that. Yeah, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. And also, you guys can follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Also, I've talked about that I have a DaVinci art thing, that's why I have that, which I thought I turned the notifications off, but I guess I did not, or maybe they just still send me notifications, which just makes me want to know why the hell I have an option for that. I don't know. But, yeah, there's that, and, oh yeah, also, if you guys want, you guys can, comment down below, of your opinions on each episode. I could use some more comments. I really could. I mean, I don't care if people have their own opinions as long as they're respectful. And like I said, I'm gonna be doing, part 2 of this episode, so I'll be reviewing 10 more episodes of this season. I think I'm going to keep doing it like this just because I think this is going to be a lot easier than doing like 39 episodes, especially when we get to season 5. That's going to be absolute hell to do. I mean, there are like a few specials, like 4, I think, specials in that season, but there are like a shit ton of, freaking shorts in there. Like, my god, there's a bunch in there. So I figured I might talk about that later. In the meantime, I guess, let's go ahead and get into this. So our first episode we're going to be talking about here is, Grandma's Kisses. Now, for these future reviews, I'm going to try to, make the videos a bit shorter, and not, because I feel like sometimes they're longer, so I'm going to try to make them shorter, but some of these episodes, I will have a lot to say about it, so I can't make any promises. However, in these episodes, I actually don't have a lot to say in this set. I mean, there are some I do, but there are a couple, like this one, for example, I don't have a lot to say. And that's because, well, a lot of people have talked about this episode, and not very good opinions on it. In fact, a lot of people do not like this episode. A lot of people actually freaking hate Grandma's Kisses. I will say, if you guys don't know whose grandma this is actually SpongeBob's grandma, who's voiced by a very popular actor. I don't remember her name, but if you guys watch the episode, you guys can, it'll say on there. I thought about putting it on there, but I didn't do that. Yeah, she is a very good actor, and I love SpongeBob's grandma. SpongeBob's grandma is very sweet. She's a very sweet character. I love her so much. However, I will say her introduction in this episode is not the greatest. And, the biggest problem I want to talk about this episode is the whole messaging thing about being a kid and growing up. Like, I hate the message so much in this episode. So what happens is, SpongeBob is visiting his grandma, and, he spends time with his, grandma and all that, which I actually want to point this out real quick. This is actually a fun fact I wanted to actually put in the video. And by fun fact, I mean it's actually a sad fact, but I'll go ahead and say a fun fact just because, I'm going to make it more, exciting, but in reality it's sad. This episode here marks the final time we hear the, it's called a cradle, the cradle music. Apparently it's listed A, so I guess there's different versions of it maybe. I think it's like a remixed version of Rocky Ball Baby, what parents sing to their kids. I'm actually quite curious where that song originated from, or when it first was made. Kind of interesting. I do like the song; it's pretty nice, but this music is really catchy too. I mean, it's not one of my favorites, but it is very catchy. Unfortunately, this is the last time we hear it, and it's at the beginning of the episode. I don't know if it'll appear again down the road, because SpongeBob has been bringing back older tracks, which is what I like. This one, though, they kind of quit using it. They used it a couple of times, but then they kind of quit using it. I'm not sure why. Like, I don't know if it was a licensing issue or not. I don't know. Because for some reason, SpongeBob has freaking licensing issues with tracks. So throughout this review, I'll point out some of I mean, I won't be able to probably point out all of them because there's just so many of them. But there are a lot of them that have been discontinued early on. And some of these tracks barely appeared at all, so. But yeah, it is a very nice track, I'll say that. That said, though, what's not very nice is how, again, they handle the whole concept of growing up in this episode. Like, what is with these damn cartoons and doing a shitty job at giving this message out to kids and all that. Like, even the Fairly Odd Parents failed at this, I will say, though, unlike that episode, I will say they definitely make this more entertaining, but, like, it is just so annoying. So what happens is SpongeBob's grandma kisses him on the forehead, and apparently he goes to the Krusty Krab, and everyone laughs at him, and then he runs away to his house and all that. And apparently, I don't know, he goes to Patrick for advice, which is probably not the smartest thing to do, because Patrick is not known to be the smartest, character. I mean, he gave him good advice before, like in boating school and all that. I think even later down the road, he'll give him good advice. But but for the most part, Patrick is not the best, person / fish to be, because technically they're sea creatures, but they're like people in that world. Be giving SpongeBob advice. His advice is that he shouldn't be acting like a baby around her, and I'm just like, that's just a horrible message. It feels like a horrible damn message to SpongeBob and all that, like, SpongeBob, audiences in general, like, apparently he's not allowed to have cookies, he can't be read books, and all that, and I'm just like, I'm like, what's wrong with having cookies? I'm an adult and I love cookies. Hell, I actually like to, a lot of people don't like these cookies, but I actually like them. You can buy them at the store and all. They have little frosting on them and little sprinkles. They're actually really good. My mom used to bring them to me at school when I had, a birthday, thing and all that. That was really cool. Actually, there is one year too where she actually she gave me a cupcake, and it looked like I was Ozzy Osbourne. Apparently, is what my dad said. Which I didn't know what the reference was, but, now I get it, but I had to be explained that, but it's pretty funny, but yeah, I'm like, I have, those cookies, I still eat them to this day, and heck, I mean, go to the, I was actually gonna buy some at the store, because they were having a deal on it. I decided not to, because I was like, I don't really have the money to buy it, and we went to like St. Louis, or actually I think we were going to St. Louis. No, I think we were going to St. Louis, or because we're gonna pick Nolan up and all that. I'm like, we're probably gonna get food there and all that, so I didn't bother. But yeah, I don't know. But there's nothing wrong with having freaking cookies and all that. Like, who cares? And like, I don't get it. Like, I just don't get it. Like. I think the thing is, though, the whole problem with the episode is, a lot of people don't like Patrick, because Patrick is, like, stealing SpongeBob's grandma. Personally, though, Patrick, is not really, I don't think he's doing much really wrong in this episode. He's just kind of, besides giving SpongeBob horrible advice, I actually really do think that those parts are pretty funny, especially when he's eating the cookies. I really like that. Like, he's just freaking sucking them up. It's pretty funny. But, I mean, SpongeBob's grandma's even kind of like, I mean, even her introduction here, she's kind of, I mean, she's trying to be sweet, but like I hate how SpongeBob's trying to be an adult, and she's giving him all these freaking, office supplies and all that, and apparently he can't have cookies and all that. I mean, to be fair, he did say that he didn't want cookies, but, you know what I mean, like, I don't know, the whole episode is just freaking kind of like this and all that. And not to mention, we have to have a long out, like, freaking, crying sequence of SpongeBob. Like, this thing goes on for, like, I think a fucking minute, which is something you would see probably in post-movie SpongeBob more than pre-movie. Now, pre-movie does have these moments, but freaking, like, this one I feel like it's just a bit too far and unnecessary. I mean, there are, like, episodes we'll get down the road, like, I think Clams, for example, Mr. Krabs loses his dollar and throws his big fit and all that, but, in this episode, I just think it's just they go a little too overboard and all that with it, and it just fucking drags on. Also, I want to point out that Patrick also randomly disappears in this episode, too. He apparently, was sleeping on the couch and then disappeared. Like, I feel like they would still have him animate him on the couch or something, I don't know. But maybe he walked away because maybe he couldn't sleep because of, SpongeBob. I don't know, it just seems kind of weird. He's just gone, Or maybe the animators forgot to animate him in there. I don't know, it's just kind of weird. But yeah, it's just kind of frustrating. And I mean, what's even more weird is apparently somehow, Squidward and the rest of the Bikini Bottom mates found SpongeBob's grandma's house, so I guess, that must mean they're stalkers or something, because, somehow they found his house, or his grandma's house. I don't know, just freaking weird and all, and kind of frustrating. However, besides all that, I would say this episode is gonna get a meh. It's gonna get a meh, and then, not only I'll give it a meh, but, I'll be giving it also, I'll give it, hold on a second. Sorry, I have to, hard to kind of do this on my, there we go. I think for now on I might start pausing my video when I give the score out for you guys, make it easier. But anywho, I was gonna give this a 49 points. Yes, 49 points. Yeah, a very low, it's a very low, a very low, good, I mean, meh, it was pretty close to getting bad, but, honestly, I think Patrick kind of saves this episode. Patrick actually is pretty funny in this episode, especially the part where we also have at the beginning where he's like, whenever have I not giving, good advice, or good advice, and it shows a bunch of random stuff. It's pretty funny, but yeah, that's the problem. I just don't like how frustrating this is and all that. I don't like how they treat SpongeBob, and teaching kids that they can't enjoy, fun stuff when they're adult because they're adults, But I think, yeah, this episode has definitely done this better than the Fairly Odd Parents. I mean, even episodes, even shows like Sabrina the Teenage Witch did this concept too, and I felt like kind of failed at it too, but it's been a little while since I watched that episode, but it was the animated series and all, I watched it. But, yeah. But let's go ahead and actually move on to the next episode now. So next episode is Squidville. So Squidville is up next. Speaking of classic tracks like the last episode, this one actually has another one returns. The Reef Blower episode has they're playing with a reef. SpongeBob and Patrick are playing with a reef blower, and then the track of the water blowers returns in this episode, which is really cool. It's nice to hear it again. Another track that I said would disappear over time, but this one actually, there is one that disappears in this season. but this track actually plays in season 3 as well. But it's mostly a season 1 track. A lot of these tracks that disappear are mostly season 1 tracks, so it mostly play in season 1. But yeah, I do like the water blowers theme and all that. So it's nice, and then nice throwback to it. Although I will say, them playing with reef blowers, I don't know, it can kind of be fun. I don't know, I'm kind of with Squidward on this. I think it's kind of a little weird playing with some random, vacuum cleaner looking things, but I don't know. But the thing is, though, is apparently they destroy his house and all that, which, by the way, I guess they were trying to clean the house. I'm like, they're trying to clean this house and all that, but they, actually, I like we get to see SpongeBob's house get cleaned too. It's a pretty nice detail there. Even it's only on there for a few seconds, but yeah, they basically have to ruin Squidward's house, and Squidward gets fed up with it and decides to just move. So he actually finally does it. He finally moves. He finally does move. So unlike Opposite Day, he actually moves. He actually exceeds and actually moves to a whole nother village, with apparently a bunch of Squidwards in there, like him. I will say, one thing I do want to point out, apparently, about this is, this episode actually features, an early, version of Squilliam's voice. Squilliam actually will appear in this, he'll appear in this, episode, in this season as well, but this is they have an early voice of him, which I thought was originally played by Squidward, but apparently, the Squidward's voice actor, but apparently not. I guess he's played by a different voice actor, which is interesting, I kind of like how close he sounds to, the Squidward's voice actor. But that said, though, I do like how, I like though how Squidward, goes to this village and all that, and I like how I really like that. Unlike Grandma's Kisses, the message in this episode is actually really good. So the whole point, so Squidward gets away from SpongeBob because he just destroyed his house, which I don't blame him. I mean, that kind of is frustrating, kind of to watch a little bit, because it's not like they intended to destroy his house, but it can still be a little frustrating, because this is a constant thing they'll do throughout the entire show. They'll destroy his house, and that's kind of a running gag they'll do, which is kind of annoying. But this one, like I said, it leads to this, and what happens is Squidward apparently gets kind of bored because because everything is so perfect that he starts to do everything he likes to do every single day, and apparently even, I guess for some reason, buys canned bread every day, too. So I guess he likes to eat canned bread a lot. Likes to eat some canned bread, which is kind of weird. Is there really canned bread? Is there actually a thing called canned bread? I'm actually curious about that, because I don't really know. But, he's eating some canned bread and all that, and it's pretty funny. He gets some canned bread and all that, but he gets it, every single day, but he does the same thing every day, and apparently it basically wears him out, and he basically gets bored. Because basically, in life, technically, it's nice to have, good things happen, but I feel like if everything were probably super perfect, it'd probably be boring, so I think I can kind of understand, why that is, but Squidward also, I said, he moves to this village, but, apparently he tries to do other stuff, which, is probably something he probably needs to do. He decides to play with a leaf blower. Yeah, showing that he actually kind of misses SpongeBob and Patrick as well, which I like. I like that. It shows that he actually misses SpongeBob and Patrick, showing that he actually does care about SpongeBob and Patrick a little bit. Even if they do annoy him, he still cares about them. But it's pretty nice. It's pretty nice to notice that. But yeah, I don't know. But I do really like that he plays as this leaf blower, which is what I was talking about earlier about the early version of Squilliam with his voice actor and all that. Playing one of the characters and all that. I like how he's like playing with the leaf blower. That's the most childish thing they ever heard, which is what Squidward said in the beginning of the episode, and then they and they basically, he does the same thing and all that. It's pretty funny, like. But Squidward actually basically goes and does what SpongeBob did and basically steals people's, windows and noses on their houses and all that. It's very weird. I just kind of like how he just kind of goes freaking haywire and all that. It's pretty funny. I also like the joke where SpongeBob and Patrick actually find a lookalike like Squidward, and apparently it's not Squidward, and I don't know, it's really funny. Probably one of my favorite jokes though in this episode is gotta be the part where Patrick apparently ate fried oyster skins, and he ate fried oyster skins, and apparently I think he probably killed these two guards. I mean, maybe they're still alive, but I don't know. They look dead to me, but who knows? They apparently it's really funny. That's how they get in there and all that. But I don't know. They're kind of racist. Apparently, their kind are not allowed in there. So it's only for like octopus creatures and all that. So I guess that's kind of a little bit racist if you think about it. Like they're only allowed to have them there. It's just kind of weird. But I don't know, but it's a pretty good episode. I definitely like it. Because I'm going to give it a good. And I'm also going to give it a score as well. Alright, here we go with the score. This one is going to get definitely 120 points. Yeah, definitely a very good episode. I definitely really like this one a lot. Not one of my favorites of the pre-movie era, but the fact that it's a very good episode is still very good. I just think there are better episodes in the pre-movie era, but this one's definitely very relatable, and I do like how, unlike Grandma's Kisses, they actually give the message right here. I like that a lot. Next up, though, we have an episode called Pre-Hibernation Week. So apparently, I guess Sandy is apparently, so Sandy and SpongeBob are raking leaves in her house and all that, and, she's getting ready to hibernate for the winter, and so she kind of wants to basically, do all these fun things but can't, so SpongeBob decides to, go and help her out and all that, and do these fun things. There's actually quite a few things I like about this episode. Probably my favorite part of the episode is, SpongeBob's freaking using his tongue, which is very weird, but he's using his freaking tongue to freaking sled down the hill. It's very funny. Like, it is very funny. Like he just does that. Like, I like that. And then they have like a Frosty the Snowman, joke in there, which I'm not gonna lie, I've never seen Frosty the Snowman. Or no, wait, I think I have, but it's been like years. I remember not really caring for it too much, but I was also kind of younger than maybe maybe I should try watching it again in the future, but I remember just not really liking that song. That song I just did not like, but I don't know. My mom actually in Tebbets had, she had that Frosty the Snowman. I don't know if she still has it, but it had like a little Frosty the Snowman stuffed thing. And it had like the Frosty the Snowman song, but God, I do not like it. I do not like the song, it's kind of it's not one of my favorites, but yeah, I don't know, but it's pretty funny. Got a Frosty the Snowman, and all that, reference there. It's pretty funny. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of jokes in this episode that I really do like. I also said I like the part where we also get to see this random guy apparently he's licking a lollipop, and apparently he's trying to say I can explain. I'm an adult and I still don't get the joke. I guess if you guys can want, you guys can leave. You can tell me the joke in the comments because I don't really get the joke there, but it is pretty random and funny. That's the thing, that this entire episode is got random jokes that are really funny. Definitely really good. I will say though, probably my biggest problem with this episode, which is not really doesn't take away the episode too much. But I will say I do not like, I think Sandy is kind of a little too psychotic. Like, I mean, I get it's supposed to be funny, and yeah, there are a lot of funny moments, but there are some moments where she's a little too nuts, and I don't know, it kind of takes away the episode a little bit. However, we do get some moments where apparently, SpongeBob is hiding underneath Patrick's rock and all, which is pretty funny. Also, SpongeBob also brings up the whole, Gary chewing the sofa up again thing, which is funny because in Clams, it's funny I brought Clams up twice in this episode, and then this video, but yeah, Clams also has a reference of that too. Apparently, Gary actually chewing the sofa up, so maybe I guess that episode could take place before or this episode, or maybe it takes place after. I don't know. I think the continuity in this is kind of interesting, but yeah, but that's the thing though. In this season alone, there's a lot of like Sandy, themed episodes with this hibernation stuff in it, but yeah, I don't know. But that's the thing though. Besides the whole crazy part, for the most part, it's actually not really that bad of an episode. I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm gonna give it a good. And then I'm also going to be giving it 95 points. Just because, I think Sandy can kind of take away the episode a little bit. Because, I think she's a little too, like I said, too psychotic and not really in a funny way. But there are a lot of funny moments in this episode that do make up for it. And like I said, if it weren't for that, we wouldn't have her, SpongeBob hiding under the Patrick's rock and all that, which can be kind of funny too, which causes everybody to look for SpongeBob. But that's pretty much all I have to say about it. I guess I do want to say I do like the music in this. I do like the music in this. In the title card too. The title card in general looks pretty cool. I don't actually know what it's a picture of. I don't know what it's actually a picture of. Somebody can let me know about that too if they want to. But the music is pretty nice too. It's a guest star and all that, which is pretty nice. But let's go ahead and move on to the next episode. And this episode is called Life of Crime. Now this episode is another classic for people, and that this episode is about SpongeBob and Patrick borrowing, a balloon because Mr. Krabs apparently, told them that they can borrow anything they want as long as they bring it back. Because you can borrow anything you want and all that without permission and all that. Because apparently Mr. Krabs borrowed a lot of stuff from people and all that, let's be fair here. We know damn near he stole it. He stole all of it. Not sure what he's gonna do with it. He just happens to have them just laying around his freaking restaurant. I'm like, what does he do? Does he just treasure everything? I don't really know. I guess to be fair, the Krusty Krab's kind of like a treasure chest in a way. But people have actually said that the Krusty Krab is actually shaped like a lobster trap, which that's true as well. I just kind of looked at it kind of like a chest as well. Like it looks kind of like a chest. So maybe it's both. Maybe it's a lobster and a chest. Maybe I don't know that, because I think a chest would make sense though as well, because Mr. Krabs, Mr. Krabs likes money, Even in Help Wanted, that was his thing. But yeah, he definitely stole all that shit, except for Mrs. Puff's thing, which could possibly just be a gift, I don't really know, Yeah, because because I don't know, it could possibly be that. I don't know. I don't know. It's just kind of weird. He just happens to have all that stuff just laying around. I'm like, that's like evidence right there. But yeah, I don't know. But this is kind of the part too where they start kind of making Mr. Krabs more of a villain. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, sometimes there's episodes where I feel like this stuff can work, but I don't know, like stealing stuff. I don't know. I'm like, but that may be a little too far. Like, because I mean, Plankton, is stealing the formula all the time, and then you got Mr. Krabs stealing other people's stuff. I'm like, and then they start kind of questioning, like, should we be rooting for Mr. Krabs for his restaurant if he's stealing other people's stuff? But like I said, there are going to be, like in season 4 and 5 especially, there's going to be some really good episodes that involve around his cheapness and all that. But for the most part, too, I think it's not really stealing, though. It's just, he just has other concepts of his cheapness. But yeah, this is where they start making, him more of a villain, which is kind of sad. I kind of liked him being more of a fodder figure boss, to SpongeBob. I don't know. But I don't know too if this is another theme, by the way, too. I don't actually haven't paid attention to this one. But like pre-hibernation week, it has its own theme. Like I don't think I've heard this theme in any other episode. So I don't know if it's a custom theme too. I don't know. But that said, though, I gotta say, I do like the theme too. Not as catchy as the Scaredy Pants and the last one I reviewed, pre-hibernation week, but still not a bad theme. But I like the part where apparently they're going to SpongeBob and Patrick are just bored and decide to get a balloon and play with it, and apparently it just randomly pops. I don't know how it pops, just randomly pops, I guess. And apparently they go on panic mode because they borrowed it and can't return it. I mean, they could still probably buy another balloon and just take it to them. I don't know. I mean, to be fair though, that would be stealing. But again, they're not. They didn't know they were stealing. They were just borrowing one. But yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of interesting. But apparently it's free balloon day, so all that stuff is all for nothing. But I will say, though, this episode is also another one I really liked. This episode is also very funny as well. I like the part, too, where we see, like where they apparently are sitting around a campfire and all that. And I like, and I like how we get to hear, Patrick mention the logic of fire, and then it burns out. Normally I don't really like when cartoon characters, point that out. I think that is a little bit, they can make the jokes work, but, a lot of times I feel like it just kind of makes the audience question stuff more and all that, it makes it a little bit more confusing, you shouldn't question the logic in cartoons anyway, a lot of times, but sometimes I feel like, when the characters are doing it too, it's not as funny, it's more, just confusing, but in this case, I kind of like it. They will use this fire joke again in season 3 in the party episode 2, which I'll talk about that one when we get to season 3. But I don't know. I just really I really like some of the jokes. I mean, even like the candy bar joke. I like how Patrick completely forgets that he ate his candy bar, and I like the whole close up. Like it's a little bit kind of gross a little bit, but it's not like that gross. It's like a huge close-up of his, like he's like, now I'm gonna starve. He ain't gonna starve, he'll be fine. But I really do like the jokes like that. They do make a lot of jokes like this, like even in post-movie they'll make a lot of jokes about Patrick's weight and all, and his ass and all that. It's pretty funny. Like I do like it a lot. But yeah, I do like that. But apparently, I like SpongeBob starts taunting him and all that with a candy bar, and then they all freaking go and like they all go and like rat each other out, which I'm just like they're gonna rat each other out and all that. I'm just like they're both gonna get in trouble, So I'm like, it's kind of weird that they do that to the cops. I liked how the cops too are like, the cops are just like they're just gonna put them in jail and then like that's the thing though. The cops for the most part and pre-movie there are some moments where I think they can be frustrating. Again, in Party Pooper Pants, well, I'll talk about that episode when we get to it. They are very frustrating in there, but for the most part, they're actually not too bad. But they can be annoying, like in the episode Hall Monitor. I kind of hate how they kind of put the blame on Mrs. Puff and all that, and then we'll have another one in later that they'll do that. But for the most part, the cops are actually pretty funny in some of these episodes. It'll be like that in post movie too, but I just think they got some funny moments in here. But I do like how they put him in jail and then they let him out. I just like that. And they give him lollipops on the road, and apparently Patrick eats it and also forgets it and calls them flatfoots. I'm like, Patrick, I'm like, you probably shouldn't say that to cops, but I guess in this world, instead of calling them pigs, they call them flatfoots because they have flat feet. I don't know. It's kind of interesting. I don't know why they call cops pigs. I mean, I guess because they eat the donuts, but I'm just like, man, who cares? I mean, I don't get the joke there. I mean, why people call cops pigs? It seems kind of just weird, and I don't know. But yeah, this episode is actually pretty good. I do like this one a lot. I will say pre-hibernation is definitely more interesting, but I mean more energetic and funny. But this one definitely I think is definitely really good too. I'm gonna go ahead and give this one a good. And then I will also be giving this episode 120 points. Yep, it's getting 120 points. Now I will say, yeah, this has a much higher score than the other one. When it comes to things, but I guess that's more so on the episode itself. I mean, some of the score too also goes off my opinion, but I also go off, just how good it is in general. I mean, with how they handle a story and all that, but I mean, there are, I do think, some, episodes and some movies I review, sometimes they'll have a lower score, but they'll still be more enjoyable, but that's more so I'm kind of grading it on the episode. Because when I first did these scorings, I had a hard time kind of figuring out what I wanted to do there, but, yeah. But yeah, this episode is definitely very good. I definitely really like it. But just not as good as good as the last one, but still definitely very good. There's one more thing I want to point out in this episode that I kind of forgot to point out. There's actually like a cutaway like showcasing a strong, muscular man. When he says bun and thighs, it's like, yeah, bun and thighs. Apparently, his head is someone's head posted on somebody's body. I forgot who it was, which is pretty interesting. I would look it up, but my phone's almost dead, because I had to, it's been dying fast lately because of YouTube on there for some reason is draining the battery. I'm not sure why. But I'll have to figure that out later. But yeah, definitely very interesting. But I can look it up later if I want to. But I'll just do it later because there's gonna be more of these. We'll see more like human related characters, or that are in this that I'll talk about later. And he was going to the next one. Oh yeah, this one is next. This one right here is very very good. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead right now and go ahead and say it. I'm definitely going to give this one is definitely going to get a good and 120 points. Like Loo La La, this episode right here, Christmas Who, is definitely very good. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just get it out of the way. This one is probably one of my favorite episodes of the entire show. Not my favorite because we're gonna get to that one later on. This one though, right here, is definitely probably one of the top 10 possibly favorite episodes of the entire show. This one is really good. Also, this is also the first time we see Patchy the Pirate. As you guys see up there, we have P1. P and 1, that number, I decided to start doing this. I was actually going to do this before in season 1, but I forgot to actually put it in there, and then the same with the first part. But I'm actually going to be putting, like these characters in here and talk about how many times they appear. These are just specific characters, so these characters don't mean they're all like passed away or anything. But I figure characters that hardly appear at all or something, I might do that just for you guys, so you guys can keep up how many appear. But this one right here is the first time we see Patchy the Pirate, and I love Patchy the Pirate. Patchy the Pirate, unlike SpongeBob's grandma, Grandma's Kisses, this is actually a very good start for Patchy the Pirate. So Patchy the Pirate, now I will say people are very mixed on him. Some people think, Patchy the Pirate can be kind of, annoying and take us away the episode, because people want to watch the episode himself. But, I don't know, Patchy the Pirate, for me, is actually very funny. Like, he can be very enjoyable at times. But, yeah, this first episode, though, he's really funny. Like, there are a lot of jokes in this episode, a lot of them. Like, between Patchy, apparently cutting Potty's strings. He's cutting Potty's strings, and then, because he won't give him the mail and all that, and then we have, him pulling Potty down and all that, and, like, this random person, falling down, which is pretty funny. I don't know who that is, because actually Steven Hillenburg actually voices, Potty the Parrot. He actually voices him. He voices him for pre-movie, and then I don't know if he ever comes back to voice him, because he does come back for the show. He'll disappear for a while and then come back. Unfortunately, due to him passing away, we won't hear his voice unless they use AI, which I'm just like, I kind of rather them not use AI and just use, they just use actual people, but I don't know. I don't know how that would even work anyway, because I'm like, that'd be kind of hard to do. Because, you still gotta have somebody holding the strings and all that. I guess you could have, like, it move on its own, like an animatronic, but I don't know. But yeah, I do. But there are a lot of jokes in this one. I do like. So yeah, Patchy's telling the story of SpongeBob's very first Christmas. Which is the title Christmas Who. The title is Christmas Who. That's the whole point of the title. That's the episode. Christmas Who is about apparently learning about Christmas, because they do mention Christmas in season 1. Actually, even Pie Guy Rules actually points that out in his review. He does point that out. He points out that that whole thing and all that. But the thing, he never brings that up. That actually, I don't know. Does he? I actually can't remember. Like, if he brings that up or not. Talks about how it actually he talked about it. I don't know. It just seems kind of weird that he brought it up, because this is technically supposed to be the origins of it in the Bikini Bottom. But I don't know. I just find it ironic that nobody knows about it. I guess Santa doesn't know that there's a big Bikini Bottom down there. But here we have Sandy actually not hibernating, and apparently is celebrating Christmas. So apparently she's not hibernating. She moved south for the winter, and then we have pre-hibernation, talking about her hibernation. And in this episode, which at this time, Christmas, technically, Christmas and all that, technically, Sandy would be, hibernating already, but I guess they needed somebody to tell a story about it, But it is kind of weird, though, to see that, but But I really do like a lot of moments. I like how Squidward is just not really into this and all that, and then SpongeBob and Patrick and the entire Bikini Bottom are shooting stuff at the top of the water. Also, it's kind of weird too. We also have a weird part where apparently we have a weird part too where Mr. or like not Mr. Krabs, or people are asking for weird stuff. Like, apparently one person's asking for 2 teeth and all that, and a new hat, and, well, I guess a new hat's not that, not that funny and all that, not that strange, but, I do like the way his head looks, though. It's pretty funny. And then, like, this old guy's asking for a glass of water for his teeth. I'm just like, gonna ask for a glass of water. You could probably just go to your house and get some water, or heck, you're surrounded by water, technically. So, I don't know, it's kind of weird, but yeah, there's a lot of moments, and I really like the song. They have a song in this episode, too. It is fantastic. There's a big reason why people say Christmas Who is probably one of the best Christmas specials. Especially with Nickelodeon. I think Nickelodeon, people actually say it is the best one. I don't know about all time, like, in general, but, like, for Nickelodeon, yeah, people say this is, like, the best one. That's because this one's very good. It also has, the whole Grinch story, so, Squidward actually is kind of like the Grinch. He doesn't really he doesn't really, he thinks the whole thing is stupid, and all, so he's kind of, he's more of a Scrooge, not really, I guess, the Grinch. Grinch steals stuff. He's more kind of like the Scrooge of the story, which you could say is very overdone and all that, which is true, but, same with the Grinch stealing, presents, that's been done a lot too, but I think that this episode, they do it very well and all that, and to be fair, Squidward's right, though. It is kind of crazy to believe something that's never actually happened, But, I'm just surprised that Sandy doesn't show up again in the episode to kind of talk about some stuff. Because apparently Santa Claus actually doesn't come, and instead of Sandy coming to support that, apparently that doesn't happen. Now, I don't know why Santa doesn't come. I guess maybe he was flying by delivering presents, and maybe he happened to see the bottles just random around, or as Patrick stated, maybe he stopped to get a snack because he's fat, I don't know. That's a funny joke from Patrick, too, very funny, but, I really don't know, it's just kind of weird, he doesn't show up at all. Well, it is possible, I guess, that he probably went to get a snack, or, like, maybe he went to go eat somewhere, and maybe, came back or something, but I don't know, like, because we do see him at the end of the episode, so we know that Santa Claus is there. Also, speaking of which, Squidward, this is the part I really like of the episode. It's probably what really warms my heart. Is Squidward actually, remember Pizza Delivery, how Squidward actually has a very touching moment? I really like that Squidward literally dresses up as SpongeBob, idol Santa Claus, let's call him an idol, because he is kind of, because SpongeBob kind of treats him like one, because, Santa Claus is very popular, a lot of people do, but I really do like how, he dresses up as, this, because, he wants to make SpongeBob happy, because SpongeBob actually gave him a gift. And I really like that. It's really sweet and all that, and he does all this because, he has a heart, and I really like that. It's very good, and I'll say, though, the part that is kind of confusing, though, is he's freaking robbing from his own house, and nobody questions it, which you can say maybe a little bit mean-spirited, but number one, he's doing it for himself, and number two, I don't think any of the townspeople are even paying attention. I think they're just trying to get their own stuff, but again, Squidward's doing it for his own good, so it's not like it's very mean-spirited. I will say though, I do kind of wish Squidward got his stuff back at the end, because at the end of the episode, he doesn't get his stuff back. Just to be fair, we don't see inside his house, so maybe Santa brought his stuff back. or maybe got him all his stuff back because he sent him a note and all that, which is really nice. I do like there's also like a jackass, joke in there too. They don't really have any of those. Like I kind of wish they still had the jackass jokes. I guess to be any more of the kids probably or they don't want kids seeing that, which I'm just like, they're not gonna get the joke. I mean, I didn't get the joke when I was a kid and watched this episode, so I don't know why they can't have those jokes in the episode. But yeah, I don't really see them anymore. It's just kind of it's kind of weird. But it is a very funny joke. I really do like it because he is being a jackass. Not a donkey, but an actual jackass. Because donkeys were considered jackasses in the past, which I don't know why they were called that in the past. I think donkeys just sounds a lot better, but I don't know. It's definitely very funny. Another thing that's funny about this episode is seeing a live action Santa Claus and seeing him like shake his head around. A lot of people are saying he looks drunk, which he possibly is drunk. That might be the joke. I don't know, it is kind of funny and all. And I like at the end of the episode, we see him like flying off in the distance. And he's just like, and he's just flying off there, and like he's this 2D form, like a shadow. It's very well animated. Speaking of animated, this is the only time I think we see Santa live action. After that, they just make him cartoon, which I'm not really the biggest fan of that. I will say, I feel like making him live action makes more sense. But maybe they didn't want to hire anybody to like play him. I don't know. They could have hired maybe Tom Kenny or somebody to play him. I don't know. I thought that would make more sense than having, they have all these voice actors. They could easily probably hire, somebody like him and have him dress up as Santa, I don't know. I think it's just kind of weird, it's just, I don't know why they can't just do that, I don't get it. But yeah, I'm not really the biggest fan of him getting a redesign and all that for the cartoons, and I kind of prefer him to have the live action ones, but I don't know, but that's just my opinion. But and after that, we get cut to the end of the episode where we see Patchy again. Apparently, the whole mistletoe thing and all that, where they're kissing, they want somebody to kiss him. So is he like talking to the kids? Because that's kind of a bit weird and all that, But I have no idea. But it is pretty funny. I will point this out too about Patchy the Pirate, because I'll try to point this out later too if I can remember. So I don't know about pre-movie era, but I knew post-movie for some reason they randomly cut out the Patchy segments in some of the DVDs or releases. I've noticed that. Like, I actually forgot about it for a long time until I saw these reactors. I think his name's Tim and Khalees, or whatever their names are, they're reactors. Khalees, or I can't pronounce her name. She's basically Tim. She's Tim's, like, I don't know, I don't know if they're friends or actually dating, I don't know, because she's on a lot of his videos, but he's also with other people, but he's with her more, so I don't know, but they were watching these episodes, and they had the segments cut out of them, which kind of sucks, so I don't know what that's all about, but yeah, that they'll just randomly be gone on, like, some stuff, I think I even remember that on the PS3, because back in the day, you could, like, download these episodes. I don't know if you still can, but I'm like, you can download them and have the patchy segments on there, but, like I said, I don't know if it's like that with pre-movie, because, well, they were reacting to it, and it showed Patchy the Pirate, so, I don't know. It's just kind of weird that it just randomly disappears, but it's like that in, Friend or Foe, and then there's another episode called, Atlantis Square Panthers, Trooper Square, and all that. He's not in any of those, which is kind of weird. So I don't know why that is, but I figured I'd point that out just in case I forgot, but I'll point it out again, if I can, just because, I kind of want to point it out, just for the heck of it. But I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next episode. Next up, we have Survival of the Idiots. I forgot to mention too that in the Christmas Who episode, also there was a a different theme song too, which is the first time this show actually had a different theme song. Because then we did have different end credits theme for the Halloween episode, but pretty much they pretty much have it. It's like they give SpongeBob an actual his own intro in that episode, which is nice. But yeah, but anywho, we'll go ahead and now move on to this. The Survival of the Idiots. And this is an episode I don't have a whole lot to say about it. However, I will say this one is pretty interesting. So what's very weird is not only we go to a Christmas episode, which is basically back to back, which is would be seasonal, wintry themed, because Christmas takes place in the winter. But then we have an episode here with snow in it and all that, which there wasn't really any snow in that one, but there were like snow and all and decorations, like fake snow and decorations. At least I don't know if it was real. Actually, no way. I think it was real snow because it was all over the ground. But apparently in this episode, apparently Survival of the Idiots, apparently they're actually in Sandy's dome, and somehow it's snowing in there. I have no idea how it does it, but again, it's SpongeBob logic, so, I mean, there are some things where I will say down the road, I'll get to, where some of these, I think they go a little too far with some of this stuff, but in this episode, it's not too bad. But, yeah, Survival of the Idiots is basically, so they break into Sandy's house, which I'm just like, if she doesn't want anybody disturbing her, why didn't she just lock the door? Seriously, like, no, why does nobody lock their doors in this show? Like, it will be so much easier instead of just putting a sign up. Apparently there's a whole message there for eating acorns and all that, and then, they play in the snow and all that, and apparently they wake her up. I'm gonna say right now this is probably the biggest problem with this episode, which again is a big problem, but doesn't really take away from me. Like, I don't hate this episode, but definitely hurts it a bit for me, is Sandy's, like, design. Like, even as an adult, I feel like not just her design, but her in this episode's a little too creepy, like, and scary. Like, I will say, when I was a kid, this would actually scare me. Like, I'd have to, like, cover my eyes every time she was on the freaking screen. She's so fucking horrifying. Like, she's a damn beast in this episode. I also don't really care for her design too much. I think she looks kind of weird. Like, I don't know, like, she looks more like, muscular than, fat, because, she's supposed to be fat. She's a squirrel, and she's hibernating. But she looks kind of weird. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of her, like, her design and all that, but yeah, I don't know, it's just kind of weird, but yeah, basically they have to keep her asleep and all, and they decide to have some fun in the snow, which I will say I really do like. The whole Dirty Dan and Pin Larry thing in the episode is pretty funny. It really is really funny in this episode. But Survival of the Idiots, has, this whole thing of them, trying to play in there and trying to survive in Sandy's tree dome, because what happens is apparently they wake her up and all that, and then apparently they get attacked by her, and I like these freaking tombstones in there too. I'm surprised that she's able to do all this in her freaking sleep. That is freaking crazy. Like, also, how the hell is the damn snow not wake her up? Like, I figured the snow would at least wake her up. I don't know. Or hell, they could easily probably wake her up by throwing snow in her face. I don't know, it's just kind of weird, but she's like a freaking beast in this episode, and yeah, I will say it's a bit horrifying, even as an adult. Not as bad as when I was a kid, but I can see this giving a lot of kids freaking nightmares. But what happens is, apparently, they go into her tree dome and also, where her actual tree, and steal her fur to survive. Because they gotta find some way to survive. And somehow that doesn't wake her up, but the other crap does. It's very weird. Like, I don't know, like, how that would work, but she steals they steal her fur and all that, but it's just kind of weird and all that, but I don't know. I don't know. It is kind of weird and odd, but I do like how they get all that fur and then like it cuts the spring and she wakes up and she has no fur on. She must have lost that weight pretty fast though, which is kind of interesting, but yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of weird. But I don't know. But I don't know. But there are quite a few things I like in this episode. I do like that the episode takes place mostly in one location, which is in her tree dome, which is pretty nice. But I'm gonna go ahead and say that this episode right here, I would say probably gonna give. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a good. And then I'm also gonna give it. I'm gonna be giving it 86 points. Yep, 86 points, just because, like, I think 86 points is good for this, just because 86 points is, I think this episode is definitely really good. It has very good moments. I also forgot to mention the whole meme with, there's a whole big meme here about, Patrick's pinhead. It's pretty funny, like, it's definitely one of those, things they have with a pinhead and all that. And actually, one of the YouTubers I've watched in the past, I kind of quit watching him. Now, number one, he's not really on YouTube much anymore, and well, he actually doesn't upload anything on YouTube anymore. I haven't seen him. And number two, his content, I don't know, he kind of like I feel like he kind of like I don't know, he's not like a bad YouTuber, but I kind of has some hot takes with some of his opinions on some stuff, but he's not like an awful YouTuber, but I just didn't get into him as much as like Pie Guy or Gym Reviews or something like that, But, yeah. But this episode is definitely not bad, but yeah, the whole Sandy thing is kind of disturbing and all that, even as an adult. But let's go ahead and move on to the next episode. So our next episode here we're gonna have is, let's see now. We'll see what it is here. Oh, great. Oh no, not this one. Oh yeah, this episode here. Yeah, this episode right here, Dumped. Now, if you guys remember, I talked about this episode in the past. This is actually one of the Season 2 episodes I reviewed. Unlike Season 1, I only reviewed so far 2 episodes in Season, 2, minus the ones I did in the seasonal review. Like, I have not reviewed any more individual episodes, besides the Part 1 I did. And this episode right here, I talked about how it's probably my least favorite Season 1 pre-movie era episodes. I think it still is. I don't know, I'm kind of going back and forth with it between Krabby Land and all that. But this one is definitely getting a bad, in my opinion. I will also be giving it not just a bad, but 9 points. As you guys can see there, I actually forgot to put the score system in there when I was doing this. Because I was actually looking up, I wanted to look up a video online, or on my previous one, to see what score I gave it. Honestly, this is one of the rarer times where I'm giving, an episode a score, but kind of have about the same amount of, opinions on it. However, the score is the part I kind of disagree with. So it's not the episode itself, it's the score. So I gave this one I think I gave this one like 30, I think it was 38 points. Like, why the hell did I give this one 38 points? Like, why did I do that? Like, why did I give this one 38 points? This one is fucking just awful. Like, there's nothing to really talk about with this episode. Like, honestly, I will say this, I don't want to sound like, I don't want to sound kind of, I'm not going to try to sound rude here, because people can have their own opinions. People can have their own opinions. But I will say, I kind of hate how, some YouTubers here, some YouTubers actually, try to defend this episode, but then criticize later episodes down the road, and that have similar problems than this one. Yeah, I mean, I have nothing wrong with people having their own opinions, but there are some people that are like this. I mean, even Pie Guy Rules gave this one a meh. But, like later down the road, he gave similar episodes a bad. I mean, I have nothing wrong with people having their own opinion, but this episode has some problems that, like later episodes, especially in post-movie episodes that have, number one, it is very boring. I can still say that this episode is freaking boring as hell. Number two, Patrick is fucking obnoxious in this episode. Patrick is just fucking a dick in this episode. He's just a dick. Basically, they don't focus on his dickishness too long in this episode. But what he does in this episode is apparently, he tries to hog Gary all to himself. And basically, SpongeBob, I will say, definitely kind of overreacts. He definitely overreacts, a little bit to Gary spending time with Patrick. He gets a little jealous. But still, it doesn't mean Patrick needs to be a fucking smug-ass dick to SpongeBob. Come on, that's your best friend there, and you're treating him like shit. That's the thing, though. This episode kind of right here, I just don't understand that. Especially when some people are even saying, not everybody, but there are people, I've even read comments. Some people are saying that pre-movie SpongeBob is perfect. There's, no bad episodes. But I'm this episode and even Krabby Land, have a lot of things that later episodes have as well, But I don't want to sound rude, because there are people that I don't mind having their own opinion. But when you you talk about how this you defend one episode, but then don't defend another one that has the same problems. That's kind of the problem. And that's kind of the thing with this episode. There is just nothing, really to go back to here, for me at least. And this one does have a lot of problems that other people have. And even people who defend it, I don't feel like they really point out anything that, that's wrong with it. Again, I want to clarify again. I shouldn't, I'm sounding kind of negative here. I'm sounding like I'm trashing on people's opinions. People have a right to like something. I'm just kind of more referring to some of the people who defend this episode, but don't defend later Patrick episodes where he's a dick. I even see people in season 6, there's an episode called Sunbleached, where they talk about Patrick being a dick, but they don't really do that in this episode. But yeah, he is definitely a dick. And the thing is, though, there's just not really a lot for me to go back to, but I just kind of wanted to get that rant out of the way just because I kind of wanted to do that, but, because I do feel like that kind of is the case, and it does kind of annoy me, about that, saying that there's not really any problems with it, but, I don't know, again, I don't want to, I shouldn't be saying that, because I should just, respect people's opinions, but, I don't know, it just kind of grinds my gears a little bit, It grinds my gears a little bit that people are kind of like that, But, enough about that. The episode itself, I just don't have a lot to say about it, really. Again, that's the problem. It's so boring. There's just not really a lot to say about it. There's not a lot to say about it. It's just, basically, again, there's just not a lot going on. SpongeBob thinks that he thinks that, Gary dumped him and all, as the title is, implied. He dumps him for Patrick. It turns out it's all a misunderstanding, because I actually forgot to bring this up when I originally reviewed the episode, because I was going to review it, about the cookie in his pocket. That's the whole reason why, Gary wanted to be with Patrick. Because of that. Yeah, he wanted to be because of that. He wanted to go, do all that because of the cookie in the pocket thing. That is the whole reason why he was doing that. Because of that. which is kind of, just the whole reason why, he was going in this going to see Patrick and all that and spend time with him because of a cookie in the pocket. And then, yes, I will say, pets are known to do that. Like, if they smell some food or something, they're gonna go to this person has the food. But I just think it's just a weak, ending and all that. And I will say it's satisfying to see Patrick, have Gary leave him to go with SpongeBob, but it just doesn't make up for the fact that, again, everything's just boring, and SpongeBob's a replacement pets. They're just nothing to. It's just kind of boring. I guess there's just not a lot to talk about with this episode. Now, I don't know if I would consider this probably a top 10. Some people even put this episode on top 10s list, but I don't know if I'd put it on there or not. I don't know. That's the thing, though. It's kind of frustrating when it's mostly boring. But like I said, I don't know if I would consider it the worst or not. So far, it's definitely the worst one I'm reviewing so far, because there are a few more that I have reviewed here, but that are also on the list. But I don't know. But that said, though, I one more thing I do want to point out, is this is kind of funny to point out, but this episode actually has a lot of music that's discontinued in this episode. Like, it does. It actually has a lot of tracks in this episode that are discontinued and no longer in there. We have the nostalgic Hawaii, music. We have that, and then we have the culture shock theme in there, which I forgot the name of it. That's in this episode too, and all that. It's kind of weird. I think there's even other tracks in here too that are no longer that are also discontinued too, which is kind of weird too. I guess to be fair, when there's a really boring episode like this, I guess it makes sense to have that. But yeah, I do want to clarify too. Like I said, before I do go on to the next one, I definitely want to say I definitely don't mind people liking it. I guess I get more upset with people who defend it and all that. That's why I do like YouTubers like. I mean, I like Pie Guy Rules, but yeah, I do think he was kind of a bit positive with some of these reviews of his older episodes. But I will say, he still praised a lot of stuff in the newer, like season 4 and 5 and all that too, and a little bit onward he had some praises too. It's just some people refuse to like watch, modern SpongeBob because of that. Like, I mean, that's not really fair to do. But I don't know. But I haven't really seen the newest seasons of SpongeBob because I've been waiting, because I don't want to deal with watching some shitty episodes like this and have to watch them again, unless I want to do a review on them, or like a soul review, in general. But I don't know. But that's the thing, though. Like this episode, though, it's just boring. But like I said, I don't mind people having their own opinion. I just don't like people, refusing to watch post-movie, SpongeBob because the season pre-movie era was so perfect and all, when, this episode has some similar problems to the other ones. But I don't know, that's just my opinion. But let's go ahead and actually move on to the next episode, because I actually didn't realize this review was going to be so long, but I guess it is. So, now we got another episode here, and guess what this one is? Guess what this is here? It is another boating school themed episode. Yes, another boating school themed episode. You guys know how I really love these episodes of SpongeBob. You guys know how I really love them. Actually, this one's actually not that bad though. Yeah, I'm actually gonna go ahead and save it. Go ahead and just get the score right away on this one too. This one's definitely getting a good. Like, it's definitely getting a good, and I'm going to be giving it 120 points. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to give it 120 points. Yeah, this episode is definitely really good. I definitely really like this one a lot. Yeah, for a boating school episode, this one's really good. So basically the whole thing is, SpongeBob apparently once again failed his test. I like how he runs over the narrator, which is just Tom Kenny. It's still pretty funny though. He just runs over the narrator. I like that big fourth wall break. That's pretty funny. Apparently Mrs. Puff doesn't want him in the class anymore, which I don't really blame her. He's kind of a menace when it comes to driving, but I do like the part where he's like, where I like the part where we get to see him do this extra credit and all, and Mrs. Puff gives him the license and all that, and I like the whole part where apparently I like the part where there's apparently there's a whole story with Mrs. Puff which kind of questions her character a little bit. Apparently Mrs. Puff, I guess, has done some questionable things in the past. I mean, they do kind of hint at it throughout the show. They kind of hint at Mrs. Puff kind of doing some shady stuff, but this one kind of apparently talks about how she had a different name in a different school. So I'm like, what was her name originally, and what school did she go to before? Apparently she was forced to go to this one, which maybe kind of explains a little bit why she maybe is forced to kind of do this. I was thinking maybe she just wanted to teach, because but when I was little, I thought she just wanted to teach, but didn't like SpongeBob. But no, they revealed this. I think that she actually was she's kind of forced to do this, probably as a patrol or something, or community service. But it's just crazy, though. It's just crazy, she has this questionable backstory and all that. Like, it's very weird and all. But I like too, though, how she also apparently when she walks in her house, she has this random picture on her wall, doing it repeatedly. It's this will actually appear again. By the way, that scene will actually appear again down the road. It won't appear until I don't know if it'll appear in other episodes because you don't really see Mrs. Puff's house too much. But I do like how they do bring it back. I think it's in season 8. I'm pretty sure it's season 8. I don't remember where Mrs. Puff actually apparently is on patrol for yelling at a student. I mean yelling at SpongeBob and all that. I don't know. I don't remember what season that was, but I'm pretty sure it was season 8. But it's kind of crazy that they bring that stuff back even around that time too. But yeah, it is very interesting to see a random picture of that. That's just kind of weird, but also kind of funny. When I was little, I didn't notice the picture, but since I watched reviewers, I've now see it up on the wall. It's pretty funny. I actually saw it again by myself. I didn't actually have somebody else point it. I actually saw it myself watching the episode. So the second time, the second one that showed it off. Like I said, I don't know if there's any more, but I think they only have shown her house, like I said, a few times. We pretty much don't see her. I mean, we see her, her house in later episodes, one in season 6 where SpongeBob bringing worms and then Krusty Love and all that. We see that, but for the most part, we don't see her house and all that. So, I don't know. It's just kind of weird, but I do like the part where she takes the the boat and all that. We had this freaking funny chase sequence and all that, and probably the best joke in this episode is SpongeBob doing this thing with his lips and all, he's going everybody. It's so freaking random, but I like how they smushed the cop's car. Surprisingly, didn't kill each other. SpongeBob can't really be killed, but those cops in Surprise are still alive. Unless they're actually dead and they're actually dead and happen to they're actually dead and all that, and they just happen to have their maybe their sirens or their airbags, they just happen to go on. I don't know. It's just kind of just weird, but I don't know. But But yeah, I don't know. It is pretty funny. I don't know why the freaking cops see the freaking boat coming towards them. Actually, they see it like spinning around and all as Mrs. Puffin and SpongeBob are fighting and all that. And I just like how it's freaking. I just like how it's freaking like just spinning around and the cops are just like hey, look at there, like Are these cops supposed to be like arresting people like that? It's just kind of weird. They're just like looking at that like it's just another day for them. I don't know. It's just kind of weird. But yeah, I don't know. It's just. But yeah, I don't know why they don't drive away. Or I guess these cops aren't very smart. But I don't know. It's just kind of weird. But yeah, I got them and all. And yeah, but I just like that and all. And we do have here. There's apparently a teacher, I guess, called Mrs. Flounder. Which I'm gonna say right now, I'm wondering if that may be Flax's mom, maybe because we do see Flax to Flounder. We won't see him until season 3. I don't know if he appears in the background, but he did appear a couple of times in season 1, as I pointed out. But it says Mrs. Flounder, so I'm wondering, because that's Flax's last name is Flounder, so I don't know if like that is his mom or not. Kind of interesting to think about, but yeah, I don't know. But that's pretty much all I have to say about this episode. I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the last 2. Now we have another episode called "I'm Your Biggest Fanatic." Now this is the episode I was talking about when I was talking about I was a teenage Gary. This episode right here has SpongeBob going to a convention and all that. I don't think this is the same one. I could be wrong, but I don't think this is the same one because they were gone the whole weekend. But I think they're. But I think they were only gone like one day in this episode, so I don't know if it's a call back to that or not. I don't know. But I don't think it's a reference to it. I think it just happens to be its own thing. But I like how that there's this random cucumber, which Pie Guy Rules actually pointed out in his video how this is actually the first and only time Kevin, the sea cucumber guy actually appears. But actually not anymore because he's appeared in Pickles. Not Pickles. I mean not in Pickles. I mean he appears in. He is a pickle, but he appears in the episode, episode. He appears in like one of the newer episodes, the 25th anniversary of SpongeBob, which I haven't seen that one, but I'll just say that episode's kind of weird with the jellyfish and the moon and all that kind of weird. And he also appears in And also he, appears in Camp Coral, which I know people don't care about that show, but I figured I'd mention it anyway. I actually need to review that show down the road. I mean, talked about the first episode, but never actually reviewed it. I just haven't really been, really wanting to go to it, because I've seen some episodes of it, and it just seems kind of... The first episode was not bad, but I think a lot of it's kind of boring, but I kind of want to watch more episodes of it just to kind of get my own review on it, but... I already have others planned, but just kind of crazy though. But yeah, this episode I really like. Apparently, Kevin is throughout the entire episode really trying to get SpongeBob stung by a jellyfish, and I like how SpongeBob is just too naive and all that to notice that. I do really like that. So Kevin gets constantly stinged and all that. It's really funny, and then he eventually goes to this queen jellyfish, and then we see the king jellyfish. And I like too how we actually see in this episode we see the king jellyfish for the first time too. But I like how he's called by the loser, which apparently I guess that means that's actually a real call. Because because Kevin was actually doing that to SpongeBob, to obviously, mess with him. But, it's kind of funny. Also, you can also, I want to point this out too, you can see, Fred, the My Leg guy. You can actually see him apparently laying on the bottom of the pit down there, which is kind of crazy. I don't think, I mean, I think some people have pointed it out, but not a lot. But you can literally see him, like, down there, which is kind of crazy. Just hanging out down at the bottom down there. Like, I don't know, like why they're all down there, but it's kind of weird. So I guess even early on, they kind of knew what they were doing there, but they didn't really make him a character until season 11. But it's still a little while before we get to that one. But I remember that one that one not being a bad episode, but I remember the jokes the jokes for the My Leg kind of ran their course after that. But again, I have to watch the newer episodes to kind of see myself on that. But I do want to point this out. There's like Grandma's Kisses. There's another track that disappears after this episode. I don't know the name of the track. I could look it up, but I'm probably not gonna do that. This time around, it was kind of a pain to find the other one, but this one's a little easier to explain too. So this track actually appears a couple times. It even appears in the episode where SpongeBob has the suds and is getting cleaned and all that. So in that segment, you can hear the music. Sadly, though, that's the last time we hear the track, and then it's gone. Like, this actually wasn't the track I was thinking of, by the way. I was actually thinking about the Oysters Girls track. That, by the way, will actually disappear after this season. But, yeah, it's kind of weird. A lot of people say that a lot of these tracks after post-movie kind of, disappear and all that. In post-movie, yeah, they forgot about a lot of these tracks, but I think a lot of them that actually were discontinued or they lost the rights to were mostly in, they mostly disappeared in the first couple seasons. Even before season 3, so that's kind of weird, but that stuff, the track kind of disappears and all that. I mean, I could look it up. I mean, maybe I should look it up. I don't know, the problem is that it was a pain to kind of look up the other tracks. I don't know. I mean, I'll probably look it up in a second, but I do want to kind of talk about my other thoughts on the episode as a whole. Yeah, I will say I do like the part where SpongeBob actually, beats the king jellyfish by giving him a pie. And I want to clarify, too, that this is, I believe, the only jellyfish I think that can talk. I don't think there's any other jellyfish that can talk. But this one can actually talk. He can, speak and all that, so that's kind of weird. But I will say the jellyfish, too, I don't know if we ever get to see a real queen jellyfish. We see, Kevin and his friends, dressing up as a jellyfish, or, in a machine. Not really dressing up, but, in a machine, but we don't actually see it in the episode. So, I mean, we don't really see a queen jellyfish, I think, again, after this episode, but, like I said, they will have, a 25th anniversary, we will have a moon jellyfish. I think that's supposed to be a 25th anniversary special or something for, it's not like a special episode, but it's basically just a short, it's an 11-minute episode, but it celebrates SpongeBob's 25th anniversary, I think. Kind of interesting, but from what I could see with it, yeah, I said it's kind of weird, but I do like the different jellyfish in the episodes, but I don't know, though. There's not really a lot else I can say about this, so I'm going to go ahead and just give this one a good, and then I'm going to give it a good and... Yep, we're going to give it a 120 points. Yeah, I really like this episode, too. This episode's really good, too. Definitely a very good episode, in my opinion. Definitely very, very good. I do like that they actually... I like seeing Kevin get, his comeuppance and all that. And I want to point out this, too. I forgot to point this out. Kevin, for some reason, has a crown on his head. Or, apparently SpongeBob's I didn't know this was a hat. Apparently it wasn't a hat, so I'm like, what is it exactly on his head? What exactly is that? I don't really know. I do want to point out, though, that also Kevin wears similar clothes to SpongeBob, which makes me want to know if that's why SpongeBob wears his clothes. I don't know, that's kind of weird. But, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and look up the song for you guys, so you guys can look it up if you guys want. I'll be right back. I was afraid this was gonna happen. I could not find it. So it gives me a playlist of the tracks on Grandma's Kisses, but not this episode for some reason. I don't know. I'll just show you guys it later because I kind of want to wrap this video up. So I guess we'll go ahead and move on to the last episode on this list, and that one will be Merman and Barnacle Boy 3. Just like, the other ones, Merman and Barnacle Boy 3, I will count the appearances that they appear throughout the show. Now to be fair, you may be thinking, well, why do I need to do that if, the episodes are numbered? But that's because, even though the episodes are numbered, they only appear, they'll actually appear in episodes that are not even titled that. And later down the road, in like season 5 and all, they won't even number the episodes they're in anymore, which is kind of stupid, but I don't know, it's just kind of weird. I will say that I do like them appearing in other Merman and Barnacle Boy episodes too, but I don't know why they had to get rid of the numbers. I don't know. I guess maybe because maybe some of these episodes don't actually have those features in there. Like, had the characters actually, play a big role in there? Because that's the thing, though, in season 2. Both, there's actually 2 Merman and Barnacle Boy episodes. I think making this the only season to actually feature... No, actually, no, there is an episode, there are 2 episodes in season 7 that actually have 2 Merman and Barnacle Boy themed episodes, too. Now, they're not numbered like this, but they are actually themes like that, so... They actually do have the characters in there and all that, so they're actually themed after the characters, so... But for the most part, they pretty much only have, like 1 episode with them in there. Or like 1 episode where they're featured in there, But this episode, they're actually, just like the other one on this list, they only appear, a little bit throughout the entire show, or the entire episode, which kind of sucks. I don't know why they call it Merman and Barnacle Boy. Why not just call it something else, which kind of probably brings it to the point where I'm like, I probably shouldn't be, complaining about that then, but I'm like, they could still number the episodes, just like, if they're not going to focus mainly on them, and, around them, I feel like, that would make more sense. This episode and the next one do feature, stuff about them, but not really, the characters themselves, so... this one actually features our first introduction to Man Ray, who's voiced by a celebrity guest, just like Merman and Barnacle Boy are, so they're listed in there. Which I'm surprised they're listed, because they appear quite a bit, throughout the entire show until their passing and all that, but... actually, the other actor still appears in there. He actually, the voice actor for Barnacle Boy he actually is still alive afterwards, but because the voice actor of Merman and Barnacle Boy, the voice actor of Merman, passed away years before Barnacle Boy's voice actor did, they decided it doesn't make sense to have, both of them in there, which kind of sucks. I kind of wish they could keep them around, Now they will get speaking roles later down the road in the Patrick Star show, but we still have quite a ways to go before it happens, so let's enjoy their company while we can, I guess. But like I said, in this episode, they're not really in there very long. It focuses more on Man Ray than anything, which I feel like it should be called SpongeBob and Patrick Meet Man Ray or something, I don't know. But, that said, though, I do like how they have them watch their lair while they're gone and on vacation. So they're actually going on vacation, which is pretty cool. They're going on vacation. But But yeah, I gotta say that though, despite them not having Merman and Barnacle Boy in the episode, for the most part, this episode is actually very good. It's actually like it's actually one of like the most funniest episodes in this season. And the one thing that's funny about it is Patrick. Once again, Patrick is probably the most like the most funniest character in this episode. So Patrick apparently forgets about his wallet. So they're trying to teach Man Ray how to be good, because Man Ray is wanting to be good, or he's saying that to them so he can trick them into taking the belt off of him. You know, so he's not really being good, he's just using them, but it's really funny how he's got, like, a wallet and all that, and forgets it's his wallet, and I just like that whole scene. There's actually an edit on YouTube, this is not AI, by the way, this is just, these characters, you can kind of tell they're not the same voice actors, they're just people that are mimicking, you know, the voice actors. People do some pretty good jobs, especially Patrick. That's how you can tell it's not AI. Patrick's voice is a little bit off in that one, but Man Ray's is like spot on in that one. He's like spot on. The voice actor for him in that short is like spot on. But it's about like Nintendo, the Nintendo eShop and all. It's pretty funny. It's a pretty funny SpongeBob edit on YouTube. But I really like it. Yeah, they basically, it's a very popular meme, and a lot of people know this episode because of the whole wallet scene, but I like the part, too, where he has these freaking, like, these freaking wallets in this box, and then keeps dropping it on, he keeps dropping it on Man Ray's freaking foot. Like, God, I'm sorry, I'm sorry for laughing, it is so fucking hilarious. I love it, I love it so much, and all that, and then, like, I like the part where he actually gets the belt off and actually, you know, freaking vaporizes them and all that, and then like they put the costumes on and all that, which is pretty neat. They have the costumes, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong with this, but I think this is like the last time we'll see them wear the Merman and Barnacle Boy costumes for a long time too. I could be wrong. I don't remember if they wear them afterwards or not, but I'm pretty sure this is the last time we get to see him wear them for a while. We do have SpongeBob wear Merman's belt in the next, Merman and Barnacle Boy episode, but we don't see them actually wear the costumes for a while. Which also they will get a makeover down the road too, which I don't think is necessary, but I don't know. It's not the biggest thing in the world, but like I don't know. It's kind of weird, but. I'll talk more about that stuff when I go on to to review those episodes, but yeah, I don't know. But that's the thing, though. Like, I do like how he freaking does that, and then I like how he goes to this bank and can't steal anything because he took his tickle belt and all that, and I like how he has apparently checks with poodles on him, which is I like the live action poodle and all that's pretty funny, and then like he just takes his head off. I'm not sure why he took his head off. I'm not really sure why. It's kind of weird. When he takes his head off and all that, and then just like walks away, like it's very weird. But yeah, this episode pretty much though is definitely very good. Definitely very good. I'm definitely gonna go ahead and give this one a good. It's definitely gonna get a good. And then I'm not gonna be giving it just a good. I'm gonna be giving it 120 points. Yeah, definitely very very good. My only complaint with the episode is again the title. I feel like it's a bit misleading. Like yes, it does focus on Merman and Barnacle Boy, theme stuff where they're in their lair and all that, and then have, them meet Man Ray, but the thing is, though, it doesn't really focus on Merman and Barnacle Boy, so it can kind of, be confusing, but it's more of a nitpick than anything. It's nothing, like, super big, but I think they could just call it, like, SpongeBob and Patrick meet Man Ray, like I said. It would make more sense to me, but I don't know, it's not that big of a deal. It's not that bad, but I will say, I will say though, I didn't mention this either, that Man Ray was also frozen in tartar sauce, which is kind of random. I don't know why they froze him in tartar sauce out of all things, but yeah, they froze him in like tartar sauce, which by the way, they will bring this concept back in a later episode too, which I'll talk about in the future as well. It'll be a little while before I talk about it, but because I think the way I'm gonna do these reviews is I'm gonna do like every like 5 seasons, I'll probably review another show. You know, try to so I don't get burnt out like Pie Guy Rules did. But yeah, but that's pretty much all I have to say though about this. But yeah, this is definitely really good. I definitely really like it. It's really nice. But yeah, I was not expecting this review to take very long either. I guess it took very long to make this review. This is probably my longest review so far. I guess I did have a lot to say. Like I said, there's not going to be any promises, but I'm trying to make them a lot shorter, but I'm doing a very poor job at it. But I just have a lot to say about these episodes. But there are some that I will say I do not have a lot to say about them either. But this one ended up being a very long review, you know, so. That said, though, I'm going to probably go ahead and let things go from here, though. I'll see you guys later. And this just in time, too, because somebody's getting ready to call me. So, probably my dad calling about my food. So, this is perfect timing to end this. Okay, one more point before I go. I want to point this out, that next I wanted to do this at the end of the week because, you know, it was kind of hard for me to record stuff when other people were in the house. Like, I was struggling a little bit there, but I actually have some 4th of July reviews I want to do, and I could just wait till like the actual weekend, but I won't worry about that, you know. I mean, I want to do that then, so I figured I'd just get this out of the way now. But anywho, see you guys later, because I actually have to answer that call now. But yeah, I'm gonna try to make these videos shorter, but it might not be short every time, but that's okay. I just have a lot to say with these episodes. Anywho, though, see you guys later. Bye-bye.